It is a great honor for me to welcome our esteemed guest, Shri S.K. Vaishnav sir, for a lecture on why do we need to do research. This is very important because so many of us are doing research and many students, they don't know whether they should go for research or not. What are the advantages of doing research? What will they get after doing research? All these questions are like coming to their mind again and again. And no one better than Vashni sir can give some insight into this particular topic. Now, this lecture is done as part of the DS Kothari Center Summer Internship Program. Professor Vashni is a scientific officer with Government of India, working with the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India since 1990. International Scientific Cooperation of India from the Department of Science and Technology with its bilateral, multilateral, and regional scientific partners. He is Indian co-chair, governing body, Indo-German Science and Technology Center and Indo-US Endowment Board, member, Board of Directors of a private limited company, Global Innovation and Technology Alliance, and he is also a member, governing council of the US India Education Foundation and International Advanced Research Center, Powder Metallurgy. He is Indian Sharper for Carnegie Group of Science and Technology Ministers, Indian focal point for Committee on Science and Technology Policy and to International Center on Science and Technology Information, Moscow. He is member, Board of Research Studies in Department of Geology, Aligarh Muslim University. He has worked as a counselor, Science and Technology with Embassy of India in Moscow to facilitate bilateral scientific cooperation between India and Russia during April 2008 to June 2011. He has been contributing to promotion of international scientific cooperation as well as scientific industrial cooperation. He completed MSc Zoology in 1984 from Aligarh Muslim University and was awarded University Medal for obtaining first position. He also pursued doctoral research at University of Delhi during 1985 to 1990 on Himalayan river systems, sedimentation, diagenetic, and tectonic modifications. He qualified UGC NET in 1985 for Junior Research Fellowship and Lectureship. He was also awarded Dr. D.N. Wadia Research Fellowship in 1986 for his research on Himalayan geology. He is Life Fellow of Geological Society of India, Bangalore, Nepal Geological Society, Kathmandu, and member of International Association of Sedimentologists, Oxford. He also has numerous certifications to his credit. He also taught at Kurukshetra University in 1990. He regularly writes on various issues of contemporary science and international scientific cooperation. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation to give a talk for summer interns. Thank you so much, sir. So now, Vashni, sir.
Thank you, Monica ji, and namaskar to everyone. I see here my teachers, my colleague, and faculty of the Miranda House, and I hope there are some other faculty, and then of course the intern here. So I would like to thank Miranda House for inviting me for making an interaction with the interns here. And when we were discussing what I could speak upon, I thought we could discuss on why should we do research. In fact, there are one more interesting chapter. How do we do research? But I think that your teachers can guide you much better. So I took a simpler thing. Why should we do research? And the motivation for that came from a very, very interesting thing, because as a DST officer, I have been meeting number of research scholars. And when I say research scholar, it primarily means PhD student or postdoctoral student. And they are thoroughly confused. They have a lot of ideas. They would like to do this, this, and that. But when I ask them, why do you choose such a topic? They have absolutely no idea. They say, my guide suggested. And when I ask them how it is answering to the bigger question, so what is the big question of which you are a part, or your research is a part? They have no idea. How this research work is going to connect to the society or to the market? Absolutely. So I think there is a clarity required. And instead of a guide suggesting a topic to the student, it should be the student who should have an upfront question with himself or herself that I would like to work on this. And then if he or she goes to the guide, I feel it would make a difference. Now, we are living in a world which is quite dynamic. So I have taken these two representative pictures, one of a water which is not moving and one of a water which is moving. And idea is that if you get stored, you will get stained. It will stink after some time. On the other hand, if you keep moving, you remain fresh with ideas. जिंदगी चलने का नाम हो. अगर आप खड़े हो गए तो फिर आगे बढ़ना बहुत मुश्किल है और आप उसको नहीं पा सकते. So please keep moving, please keep thinking, please keep seeing how we could bring in more and more ideas. And we are living in a competitive world space. Can you imagine how fast the life has become? I hope each one of you will remember the dialogue from the movie Three Idiots. Even to get birth, you have to take a race. And today, if I could just simplify in terms of two products, car and telephone. I hope our today's generation will find it very difficult even to accept that on Indian roads, Ambassador and Fiat single models ruled for more than a decade, 2 decades. Today, each year, car companies come with a different model, with improvement, because they have to constantly improve. If they don't improve themselves, they will not have market. And we have had a second example is phone. For example, each year, each company will bring out different models in different price range. And the idea is simple. They have to remain in the market. If you don't do research, you will lose the market. And we have seen several examples. For example, idiot box at home, our television. In good old days, it used to be solid state. And then it came the LED. And today we have got much more modern smart TV. And those companies which were making huge television sets are nowhere visible. Nokia, which decided not to make a smartphone, lost out. They went out of market. And they are now taking a rebirth through smartphone with the latest technologies. So idea is each one of us need to remain competitive, need to remain in upbeat in the technology. Otherwise, we will lose the market. And there may be situations when nobody needs you, nobody recognizes you. So like Nokia has come back, but companies like Kodak, which used to make camera films or photographs, they have lost absolutely in the market. They are no more there. Our own HMT watches, they have lost the market. So idea is you need to remain absolutely competitive. And that is possible only when you come up with new research to make your product more market ready and more acceptable to the society at an affordable price. So for which you need to do continuously more and more research. And remember, challenges are everywhere. Life is not easy. And the moment you cross one hurdle, second challenge is waiting for you. So it is hurdle after hurdle. But for each step, you need to be rock solid. You need to be full of confidence. And then you could go to the next hurdle. So it is passing the baton, but then you do it in series and you come up with solutions. Now, we have got the COVID crisis. I think this is absolutely an outstanding example how what research can do. You know, COVID is not only restricted to the treatment. Of course, in treatment also we had a lot of research. When the pandemic arrived, we were not having data. We were not sure what would be happening. So what we did, first we repurposed the available medicines. So we tried if medicines for tuberculosis could work, medicine for pneumonia could work, medicines for different diseases that could work. Similarly, we tried how we can make quickly number of ventilators. We used car engine for that. So it's a quick research what we did. But see, in other fields outside health, also, what happened to the academics? All of us were used to classroom teaching. And each college would have taken pride if they have got 2 or 3 smart classes. And the COVID said, no, everyone should have smart class. What is the problem? And why you need to come to college to take classes? So we are now in a system where each one of us, from a place of our comfort, we are studying, we are teaching, we are doing experiments. Something is missing, and that is the personal touch, the interpersonal dialogue, and the experiments. Because all experiments can't be done on a simulated screen of the computer. Some of them you need to do and learn by hand. That is something we are missing. But if you see other aspect of the COVID, what research has given us, not only we shifted to the smart platform, we started saving time. We are not commuting to our workplaces. It may be college, it may be office, it may be factories. We have stopped that. We are now, so it's something what Hitler told us, necessity is the mother of invention. And this is what we relearned during the COVID crisis. So we got the challenges and then we started working on those answers. And this is possible only through research. Remember, even in the academics, we were not very clear which platform we will be using. Suddenly, we were reigned with number of meeting platforms. So Zoom came in first and it became very popular. And then somebody said that it has some issues. So number of other platforms like Webex, like Microsoft Teams, and number of other platform teams. Slowly, system started acclimatizing them, standardize them, and now most of the colleges, universities, departments, offices have identified that where they would be working from. So if I could say what is research, then research is looking for new information, new understanding, and new facts. And it is used to solve problems or increase the knowledge. So we should be very clear what way we are going, and we can test theories, make observations, and more importantly, it teaches us to be systematic, organized, and objective. Now, the question is, who are researchers? There is a feeling that only university or college teachers and their students are researchers. But this is not true. All of us are researchers, whether we are doing PhD or we are not doing PhD, whether we are a postdoctoral or we are not a postdoctoral. I give you a certain example. We are researchers right from the age when we start going to school. And what are we looking at that level when we are going to school? We are looking how we are going to commute to school. What could be the shortcuts? How could we pass time? And if we have not done our home assignment, how we are going to explain it to the teacher? These are the research we are doing at the school level. Nobody teaches it. Everybody at that age is original thinker. People come with different ideas. Okay? And each one, because मैंने तो ये बहाना कल बनाया था, तो आज कोई नया बहाना बनाना. I have to be very clear. If I have used one thing today, so tomorrow I'll do some more analysis and tomorrow I'll come up with newer ideas. Okay? People who are handling kitchen, they are researchers. You know, of course, in our home, most of the time, Indian homes, it is the lady, but there are chefs also who are doing this job. And every day they are trying how to make food more tastier than yesterday. How to try a different cuisine. And you know, this is science. This is research. Because they have to use all their experience and new knowledge and try it. And several people tell us advancement of nanotechnology in last 20 years or 30 years. But in India, those who are in Indian kitchen, they have been using it for centuries. We know that various herbs are different when we grate them at nanoscale. And that is how we are making chutneys. Why chutney is an important food item? Because it is grated at nanoscale, it tastes different. Our Vedyas, they were doing exactly the same thing. So they were not giving you the tablets or big thing. They were giving you grated powder because they knew the nano effect of this is different. Now, people in the field, farmers, they are also researchers. They do their research in terms of how to protect their crop from insects, from vagaries of weather, from different like very heavy rains or extreme weathers. So each time they will come up with newer ideas and they will try to implement it. So how to save it from the rodents, how to do it. Worker on the shop floor of a factory, he's also a researcher. So what I'm trying to say that researcher is someone who have got curiosity. So if you have got curiosity, you are a researcher, because then to try to find out the answer, you would like to prepare yourself for possible solutions to a given challenge. So what I feel that research should be either generation of new knowledge or working for an application. Now, if you are generating new knowledge, it has to be quality information. Now, there have been several cases where we are doing just top up. Okay, something has been done in the West, so I'll do it here. Somebody has been tried somewhere else, so I will do it. That is not the actual research. You have to have value addition. If you bring in value addition, that will. But more than value addition or more than generating knowledge, your research would be useful if it has certain applications. Now, applications are very important because that is what help you in solving the problem faced by our society. For example, there are different aspects of research, and this is a picture I have taken from Kumbh Mela. Kumbh Mela is the best example of crowd management. Now, fortunately, over the period, we have now learned, and there are very few accidents in Kumbh Mela. Of course, COVID story is different. It has impacted a festival like this in a big way, but otherwise, if you see last 4 or 5 editions of the Kumbh Mela, they have been much more better organized. We have used latest technologies, including artificial intelligence technology, how to make the movement, how to drive the mobility of people. And we have been able to organize these things. Now, of course, there is some criticism from the West, how we are doing it. But remember just the scene day before yesterday outside Wembley in London, when England won the semi-final match. Unfortunately, they lost it yesterday. But when they won the semi-final match, what was the crowd on the London roads? Kumbh Mela are better organized, and it is only because we did appropriate research. Now, food is another major challenge. You know, until the independence, India was known as agricultural country. But slowly, urbanization started and agriculture became the first casualty. In the process of urbanization, we are losing not only agricultural land, but also people in agriculture. Because everyone wants to work in a factory, in a shop, in a market, supermarket, and we are losing. So what is happening? Slowly, while our population is increasing, we are already 1.4 billion people. Our population is increasing, agricultural land is decreasing, people in agriculture are decreasing. We need to improve our agricultural practices. We need to improve the yield per square hectare. Otherwise, we can't produce food for everyone. We have to beg it from outside. So it is important that we maintain food supply for our citizens and also keep adequate buffer. And for this, we need to improve our agricultural yield. Also, we have to reduce our post-harvest losses. You know, India with nearly 30% of post-harvest losses is one of the criminal countries as far as food wastage is concerned. So we need to make new researches to see how food could be preserved, food is not wasted, and also we need to grow more and more of food. Another challenge is affordable health. India is home to 5-star hospitals where we are importing patients from all parts of the world for world-class treatment. But unfortunately, that those hospitals are not even approachable by common Indian citizens. So the research we need to do is that how we could bring in more and more solutions which are affordable. We have already started a program on open source drug discovery for tuberculosis. And now India is arguing that even COVID vaccine, so we should open up. It should not remain in the regimen of IP protection. So idea is that we should provide more and more affordable healthcare. And what we are looking for, cheaper devices, remote facility locations. So we are even trying mobile hospitals in remote areas, in hilly areas, so that a lot of screening can be done, if not treatment. So we need to do continuously our research, how to make it more and more affordable. Then we are supposed to meet the energy requirement. Now, imagine the time when we took birth and now, how much electric load each one of us have increased. And today, our requirement of energy has increased many, many fold as compared to the time when we took birth. Today, electricity is not only traditional, but also we are trying to mix with renewable energy. So what we are looking for is that when we get solar energy, when we get wind energy, wave energy, tidal energy, and also through traditional source like coal, like steam, like water, what we are trying to do is trying to make a smart grids. We are trying even to electrify remote villages where transmission cables are not there. Each village should be electrified. That's the mission. So we need some local plant where if natural resources are available, good sun is available, good wind is available, we could create a local station and supply. So here the challenges are not only to maintain and regulate and provide electricity, but also to convert various mode of electricity and make smart grids which could accommodate everything. And maybe tomorrow, already we have seen this in Europe and America, that houses are having some solar collector at their rooftops. So they produce electricity. Whenever that electricity is not consumed by the consumer, it is given to the grid. And in the evening, when they come back from work, they use it, so it starts receiving. So now the new electric meters, the new smart electric meters which are coming, that takes account of both in-way and out-way of electricity. Water. Water is one of the major challenges. Not only quality of water, but also quantity of water. Both are challenge. And we have identified number of challenges associated with the water. Each place, water is different. Although it is colorless, it looks much the same. But then if you see its chemical composition, if you see the viruses it has got at certain places, you will find that it is different. And at several places, there are certain challenges. And then if we talk about the southern India, many of which is hard rocks, and they do not have groundwater up to a very, very long thing, very deep. So we have this challenge. And again, we are looking for supply of water at village level. Now, in urban areas, in semi-urban areas, we have got municipality which process water. But in rural area, such facilities are still being worked out, where we could have a central supply of processed water. So it remains a challenge. We need to see if water being supplied is healthy, if water, the content it has got, the nutrients it has got. And you know, at each stage, we have got so many companies telling us that water you are taking is impure. So what is happening in most of the urban household, at least, that water supplied by municipality is processed at home level by some filter, by some RO, or some other process. So nobody is taking municipal water as directly good for drinking. There are places, for example, Lakshadweep, which are having all around the saline water. So there we have started with a huge desalination plant which converts seawater into potable water. We also need to see water in other contexts, like how much water we are using for what purpose. We need to do water budgeting. For example, Punjab, which was earlier a place for growing wheat, now has become a place to grow rice. It gives them more profit, but then it requires a lot of water. And what has happened? That they have taken all that water from the underground waters. And today, in return, a lot of diseases have come to Punjab. So there is a train, in fact, which goes from Punjab to Bikaner, which is called Cancer Express, because that belt, a lot of people, because of over exploitation of water, over exploitation of underground water, people have got these diseases. So we need to be very conservative, and we need to plan how we could manage our water in time to come. And then navigation or transportation. You know, it's not only computer navigation, but also I'm talking about transportation. So transportation, be it train transport, road transport, air transport, or water transport. Each one of them